Welcome to the Playful Domme, the Poly Wife, and the Virgin podcast, where we share our most intimate stories, experiences, and details of our love lives, our intimacy lives, our play lives, and giving you the opportunity to gaze in and get a glimpse of what could be possible in your life as well. As we share our stories, our adventures, we weave in tips, tricks, and techniques to help build your confidence, boost your courage, and give you the opportunity to ask for what you want in your life. Welcome to the podcast. Oh, and just a couple of quick thoughts before we get started. One, we are just everyday people. We are not professionals, licensed therapists, anything like that. This is for edutainment purposes only. This is not medical advice or legal advice, financial advice, nothing like that. Listen at your own discretion. And this is for mature audiences. We're going into deep subjects and sharing deeply about intimacy and all the things about that. So just notice who you're around and let's go.
So, Lisa, who's this yummy guy coming to visit you? What do you call him?
I call him my cub.
Why is that?
Because he is significantly younger than I am. And it's a July-December relationship. It's not even a relationship.
What does that mean?
May-December, I think it's May-December. It's an old-fashioned term for older man and very younger woman, right?
Okay.
So a man in his 60s marries a 25-year-old. That's a May-December relationship, right? I have quite a few friends who have married people 25 years or 30 years their senior.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah. Married.
Yeah,
actually, it's surprising that I know more than just one.
And are the older ones male or female?
The December is the older and the May is the younger.
But of your friends that you know, are the Decembers men or women?
In one case, I have a friend who's 50 who married a 30-year-old. So she's a woman. Another friend of mine is 30 and she married a man she may have been 35 and he was 68 or something. A woman I worked for quite a long time when I lived in Boston. They met when she was in her 20s and he was in his late 50s. And I think that she was just a couple of years older than his oldest child when they met and married. And they were married for 25 or 30 years. I worked for them for 10 years. I was their chef. Oh, I love that family so much. And she was wonderful. I actually really enjoyed her. And I loved that whole family. I would do their high holiday meals for them. And so that was another May-December. And now in the lifestyle, I know many more people who play with younger. So I have one lover, my guru, my meditation, the guy who meditates with me. He is one of the people that told me that I should absolutely play with somebody in their 20s, that he has this lover in her 20s and it's like just fantastic and everybody should try it at least once. And I'm like, I'm not sure I could do that. I'm not sure. But I met this guy and he's just fabulous. And he's got a very peaceful, loving, happy nature. And he's total hippie. He lives in a van now in Colorado. And he grows for somebody, he's a grower and lives on the side of a mountain in a van. He's just a total freaking fabulous hippie. And
wow. So I expected in my head, it was somebody completely different. So I expected this young stuff that's working out all the time.
I'm not sure I've ever seen him in anything other than a tie-dye t-shirt. His hair is longer than mine. He's got hair down to his ass. Sexy as fuck. Big full beard. Oh my gosh. I'll send you guys a picture. And he's just lovely. And so
Lisa, God, I love you.
Yeah, so I call him my cub, and yeah, and I've had 2 or 3 men who said to me that they, in their teens and very early 20s, dated women 30 plus years older than they were, and it made them better lovers. And I was like, yeah, I don't want that responsibility, but apparently I do. Oh. So
When the
yeah,
right
so
student shows up.
Yeah.
when the student shows up, the teacher is ready.
Right? Gotta be
I
the
guess so.
right pupil. Can't be just any
Yeah.
pupil. Can't be just
Yeah.
any young guy. It's
Yeah.
that's so funny. Lisa's met a guy that I don't know if you met him. I've just talked about him in Sarasota.
No,
but
I've met him. I met him when I met you. We met him together.
Yeah, at Bed Bath & Beyond. That's right. Yeah, Bed Bath & Beyond. And I think he's 23 now. And I felt so old next to him. Oh my goodness. But we definitely played and had a couple of times together that were so special. And then I found out, I think this was one of our earlier conversations. I reached out to him and he's like, I think about you every day. And I was like, what? This has been 2 years. You think about me every day. He's like, every day. And I was like, I would have come and seen you so much sooner if I had known that you've been thinking about me every day. We had 2, maybe 3 nights together. That's it. And he was just like,
Is it Jess? Is this the guy at the wine store?
Yes.
This is the guy at Bed Bath & Beyond that was like,
oh, Bed Bath & Beyond.
Can you help me find a good bottle of wine, and
was
his pickup line, and I just totally fell for it. But he's really, really fantastic and it's such great energy and but I remember looking at his face as we're walking on the beach and he has such a baby face, there's no wrinkles on him. He's so bright and shiny and I'm I feel like a hag next to him, and I'm I can't look at myself in photos with him, all my eye wrinkles and forehead wrinkles and face wrinkles and he's so young and what I feel like his mom because I'm old enough to be this is just so weird. And then but then it's we would and he had no problem with it. I was the one with the issue, not him. I was the one with the issue. And but when we would kiss, it was age went out the window, no lights on helped a lot, and just go in and and play, so yeah, but it's
Guys are so funny today. Lights on helped.
Well, it did, but he was the first guy that I gave him my BDSM toys with, and I let him play on my body, and he was rolling a pinwheel on my back. I think I've said this before, but if not, it's still a good story. He started rolling it on my back, and I realized when I was growing up, my mom used to tickle me, but not as to light me up. It was her form of torture. So one of her forms of torture on me was to tickle me. So I would make my body super hard and super rigid, so I wouldn't react to her ploy. But years later, so I'm with him, and I'm laying on the bed, and he takes the pinwheel that I have, and the pinwheel is actually a chiropractic tool. It has a very much more distinct name, but I like pinwheel. It has a little spiky wheel on it, and then a stem, and it looks like something that you could actually use in sewing, but it's a chiropractic tool. And so he was running it along my back and in my shoulders, and I just started erupting and laughter. And it was that's where all of that had been trapped. All those ticklings, the joy and the laughter got trapped in my body. And so when he was rolling it on me, I just started laughing and shrieking and hilarious for hours. He was just rolling it on me, and it was such a healing moment and so unexpected. And that was one of the biggest insights for me about what's possible with BDSM and what's possible with these kind of tools, is that we can access the parts of our bodies that we can't really normally otherwise. So so anyways, he wrote me and was I have this desire to just lock ourselves up in a house for a couple of days with just some water and food and books and just be there together. And I was like, oh my God, this is literally a fantasy I've been carrying since watching Days of Our Lives when I was 16 years old. Like, you know, being whisked away and with a yummy man and just having sex for days and showing up to answer the door wrapped up in a bed sheet, like, you know, like Deidre did or whatever her name was. So it's a sweet thing. It's a sweet thing I like the cubs. I call them puppies, but I like the puppy energy. I like the cubs. They're sweet, they're cute, they're fun. They don't have the weight of the world on their shoulders yet. You know, they don't have the hang-ups that, you know, on all the extra responsibilities that, you know, most older men have as they age, unless they've had kids, you know, super young. Then of course they get kind of thrust into it prematurely. But I like the young blood. It's fun. Yeah.
I was trying to get him to arrive here in time for our podcast, but I have another call after the podcast. I can't be naked for that call, so
you should probably have your clothes on for that.
Or in my little outfit that I was going to change into for him. So
that does not mean that he can't be under the table licking your toes and massaging your feet. Just so you know. I learned a couple of erogenous zones on feet the other day.
Oh, you did? Please share.
Yeah. So it's more like on the outer sides of your toes. So at least it's from my girlfriend. So maybe you guys can test it out and let me know. But one is on the outer side of your big toe. So the side pushing out. Okay. Another side is on the outside of your pinky toe. So the edges of those toes, like nibbling on them or like kind of like gnawing on them a little bit. And then also on the basically it seems like it's on the outer sides, not so much on the inside, but like on the outer edges of like the ball of your foot, and then also on the outside far side of your foot along the near where the toes are. So at least I saw one of my girlfriends get super turned on as I watched her husband nibbling on those spots, because she had shared that with him. So it was fun to see. But speaking of which, I have another funny story. So I was in a May-December relationship years ago. This man was quite a bit older than me. He was on a conference call, and he was at home, and he was going down on me while I was on this conference call. And someone said, "Is there a dog licking this phone?"
No way. Oh God. No way.
Yeah. So one of the funniest moments of my life is
the dog licking this phone. Well, yeah, funny thing.
We still, we stay, it's been years and years, but we stay in touch, and we'll still be like, that's still one of the funniest moments ever of my life. Yeah. Ella, how about you? I'm sure you got a crazy story in there.
Oh wow. Crazy story. Wow. Had to let me think about it. I'm still trying to laugh about licking the licking phone situation. I was as you were talking about this, you were talking about your toys. I was like, I'm always fascinated. We talk about this after we get off the calls. Show me, tell me more. So I think I want to know about toys. Like, what are your top 2 favorite toys? I still want show and tell. So for our listeners, we're working on a show and tell. So both Jess and Lisa will be doing some demonstration for us and some of the after hours things we're going to be offering. So I don't know if you're like me, but I want to know. So tell me about some toys, because I know nothing. You guys, I know nothing. I need to know about simple scarf, Tell me.
Yeah, the scarf. It's so interesting that you say that. And I appreciate you sharing that, because I'm doing a photo shoot tomorrow and I have a female model that I was going to, whose body I'm using for the photos. She's offered herself to do that. So I'm using it to show my body work. So using her to like kind of get some photos of my sensual body work, but I can also bring some other of my tools with me just to like kind of highlight and show like the things. And I actually was depending on how it goes with her, I'm ready to record a video of giving like basic, like, here's like 5 simple things that a man can do or someone can do like for their partner that's like sexy, because I think that every partner should know how to spank, how to pull hair, and how to do breath play. So cessation play, breath play.
Jess, you're going to do that like in 3 or 4 or 5 different episodes for our listeners? Because for me, I'm just talking for me, being Miss Vanilla, I'd like to do 1 at a time. I'm not sure that I can handle all 5 at a time. Will you do them individually for us?
I mean, I could. What I was thinking was actually creating like a video, like a digital product for people to be able to like, you know, purchase, and they can go at their pace, but, you know, just to like show them the different techniques and, you know, things like that. And then like the scarf, how to use the silk scarf and use it to tie your partner's hands over your head. And, you know, and for me with women, I think it would be really sexy to like actually have me demonstrating as though I'm the masculine partner and showing it on the woman and, you know, capturing her surrender. So
I can hardly wait. I got to just tell you I can just hardly wait. And again, I'm very vanilla. I know nothing about this and I want to learn. So we talked about it before. I trust you. And we talked about being sensual and hurry, Jess, hurry.
Yeah, I know. I'm on it. Girl, I'm on it. I hear you. You know, there's guys when I'm talking to them and we're scheduling a session, I'm like, you know, would you like to experience a prostate massage? And they're like, I've been kind of curious about that. Yeah, you know, sure, I'll try.
So Jess, again, what is that? What is a prostate massage?
So in my vernacular, I am not a therapist, doctor, any of that stuff. So I'm going to talk just real basic stuff, but you can of course research more about it. But the prostate is a gland, I believe, in the man's body that, from what I understand, it produces the sperm, right? It produces the sperm. And it's this almond-shaped thing, and they call it the P orgasm. Like we have the G-spot orgasm, they have the P-spot orgasm. So when the prostate is stroked enough to the point of orgasm, they'll have either an inner body orgasm without ejaculation, or in my experience, they'll have a prostate orgasm, and there'll be a different fluid that comes out.
Oh, really?
Is not the same as their typical cum. So for me, it's so important. If anyone wants to try this, it's like, get a pair of gloves. You can get black nitrile gloves, which is even better. Just get black so you just don't even worry about it. You know, it's good for the guy to like go to the bathroom if they can. And they can do an enema. You know, the guys that are in BDSM who are very familiar with anal play, they will clean themselves out. They'll get an enema, it's like protocol. Most lay men don't know that, so I've had a couple messy ones, but you know, it's not bad. It's part of the deal. So you know, having the black gloves, I like to do nitrile gloves. And then lube. So you can get Astroglide, or there's Boy Butter, I think it is, which is a really great one for fisting, which is a whole other conversation. Or there's something called J-Lube, which is actually used for horses. Actually,
oh, really?
You might be familiar with it. So it's a lube for horses. It's apparently the best. Like I learned that in Paris, and it's been confirmed here in the US. It's the best lube for anal play. J-Lube. And you can get it at a feed store. Apparently you can get like a big pail of it for like $30 or something, or
so
$10. But if you get it on your, I guess, you can buy smaller bottles from some redistributor, and it's way more expensive, or you can just go to your local farm and feed store and get it. So and it doesn't have to be just for anal play, but it is a spectacular lube. I'm just giving you all my secrets, all the Dom secrets. So, you know, another thing, I mean, of course, gay men are going to know what the best products are for anal play, and, you know, things like that, for fisting and pegging and strap-ons and all that stuff. So they're going to know the best.
Okay, so here's a question. Can you use this same lube if you're just doing vaginal?
I would think so, because it can be internal. So I would think so, but test out a little bit, see how it responds to your body and reaction. Like, again, I'm not a doctor. I will not take any responsibility for what you decide to do with this information. This is for entertainment only. I am an entertainer, like not an educator. So you get the glove, you get the lube, and one of the best pieces of advice I ever received from the Parisian Dom who was training me was use so much lube, especially with anal play, that it's like you're fitting an elephant into a mailbox. So you want so much lube. It's like going to feel like ridiculous amounts, but that just eases so much of it. And you can also get, there's shooter bottles, like they look like test tube shooter bottles that you can use to fill with that lube and then like shoot it inside the anal cavity, which is helpful, because sometimes if you're putting some on just your finger and then you go inside, it's only going to get to certain parts. So that way, if you do the shooter action, then you get the whole thing filled up with it. So how I do it, I do not just take a finger and ram it in. By the way, I don't know why guys do this. Please, if any of you are going to have anal play where you're having anal sex with somebody, like it should take, if you do it right, it should take 30 minutes to an hour to get a woman's really relaxed, to have it open, because having, a 2-inch or more girth something shoved inside when there's no preparation for it causes tremendous damage. Yeah. And it's painful and doesn't feel good, and it can feel really freaking amazing. So getting a woman turned on. So the thing about the anal sphincter is that it's a muscle. So it can be relaxed, it can ease, it can open up wider, like, and again, like about fisting. I've been able, maybe another episode I will share with you just how far I've gone inside a man's body with my arm. And I'll just say the fact they say arm says a lot about how far you can go inside someone. So with proper lubrication and also stretching, so you're stretching the anal sphincter. So what I do is I put on a glove, I put some lube on, I lube up the area, and then I'll just press my finger, not push, I just press my finger onto the opening of the anal sphincter, and I hold it there. And what will start happening is it starts trembling, and I let people know, especially like I did yesterday with another client. I was like, this is your first time. If it feels uncomfortable, it's okay. That's completely normal, because it's unusual. And you might feel like you have to poop. That's okay. You're not going to. Just relax into it. It's totally fine. And that's helpful for them to know, because we get so, again, we're like, I don't want to poop on somebody, and what if something happens, and so we get so in our heads that we step out of the sensation. So there's a difference between uncomfortable and painful. So if people have hemorrhoids, it might be more painful, so being very careful with that, very delicate with that. Uncomfortable because it's just unusual and it's new. Mm-hmm. And I also say give it a few times. Like, don't, unless you like hate it, like one and done, fine, like try that. But if you're like, oh, I don't know how I feel, give it a few times, because again, it's a new experience. So I'm pressing my finger on the starfish, the anal sphincter, and I'm letting it start to relax. And then it's almost like it becomes like an opening. And so I'll slowly put my finger inside, and it's just a little bit, like, I don't know, maybe half an inch, like just a little bit. And I'll start pressing around the sides of it, like on the inside, just again, like relaxing it. And some of them, you slide right in. It's not a problem. Others, it just takes some easing in, but I do not rush the process. And so it's important that you take your time with anyone. And so as I'm navigating in, usually about 2.5 inches in, I'll feel something that feels like an almond. or sometimes like and it has a very distinct texture and feel to it. When it's deflated, it feels kind of not quite slippery, but kind of like a smooth, like a different kind of smooth texture.
Okay.
When it's I think healthy or usual or normal, it feels like an almond. If someone has an inflamed one, a prostate, it feels quite bulbous. It feels very big. So I'll start stroking it, and there's different strokes. There's there's books about it, there's videos about it, but how I stroke, there's either the come hither, so you're like pulling the finger back towards yourself, or you can tap, like I'll do a slow tap, or I'll do like a windshield wiper kind of action, and I'll ask them which feels good. You know, do they like this? Do they like this? Do they like this? Do you like it this? Do you want it harder? Do you like it softer, faster, slower? How does this feel? You know, and I encourage them to speak because this is for their pleasure. So doing that. And what's going to start happening, like eventually, it could be 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes. As you're doing it, you start, like their body starts getting very aroused, and they're like, you can feel it, you can hear it. You know, they're like it becomes, this is part of the mind fuckery, right? It's like the good mind fuck, where there's like, oh my God, I don't know what's happening. Like I haven't experienced this before. Like I'm feeling this arousal and this like increase in, I don't know what's happening. And I just tell them to keep breathing and like allow it. And the almond will harden. And that's when I really start stroking it. So as it's getting harder, that's when I can tell they're about to orgasm. So I'll stroke it more. I'll also sometimes, like I'll be doing just that. Usually I also incorporate stroking their penis as well. And so then they're like having like this multi-sensory thing that's happening all together at once. And I'm stroking their penis and their prostate at the same time. So it's helpful to be able to multitask like that. And then they're going to have an orgasm. And it's either internally, they'll have an inner orgasm, or they'll have an external orgasm. But either way, it's pretty crazy. Which reminds me of milking. So milking, that's what I meant to say. When there's milking and then a man has, when I said that he'll have an orgasm and the fluid will be different, it's called milking. So that's something that, like, this happened accidentally with a client, because he wanted to experience what he said was a prostate massage. So I gave him a prostate massage. And then he's like, well, actually what I wanted was milking. And I was like, I don't know if I've never had anyone ask me that. So I looked it up. I'm like, okay, maybe I can try this. They say it takes between 1 to 2 hours to get a man to milk, because it's,
oh, wow,
it's quite a process. And so, so I tried it. He had already come twice, and I tried that milking with him, and it worked. And it's supposed to be, apparently it's like the most intense, exhilarating, like next to out of body experience you can have, by and have being milked and having an orgasm through there. So, and so it happened for him, and I was like, check, I did it. So these are the things that are possible for a man. Men have become so conditioned to think that they'll just beat it off for 3 minutes. They'll have the orgasm. They're like, oh, well, that was all right, quick thing. Like, maybe I'll take a quick nap, or I'll go back to work, or, you know, whatever it is. And then you like start switching it on them. Like you're teaching them how, like, I don't do this right now in my sessions, but I can, and I have had men, I won't let them come. I'll have them get to the point of arousal, to the point they're about to come, and then I'll tell them to pull that energy back in and circulate in their bodies and maintain it. So it's called semen retention, and it's retaining it, because if you think about the amount of power that is in that, when they orgasm, they could literally birth millions of worlds. And so for them to be able to hold that in instead, and this is a Taoist tantric practice, some men are in that spot. The clientele I have right now, they want to feel good. They want to feel amazing. Not that doesn't feel good, but the process of people being willing and open to experience that. So with the prostate,
or maybe they just don't know. Jess?
Yeah,
I mean, like we talked about
sure.
before. I mean, I've never even heard of this. I mean, I think I've heard it at some high level, but I didn't realize it was like this.
Yeah. So what I was having an experience 2 weeks ago where there were men that were having an inner orgasm without an external orgasm. So that was
Really
great. That was literally what's happening. But then because I didn't know that was happening, I was like, and I check in on them. I'm like, how are you feeling? They're like, I've been orgasming inside my body for 3 minutes. So if you can imagine that, like when a man orgasms, it's done in like 4 seconds. Yeah. You know, he orgasms and it's done. For him to experience the orgasmic pleasure inside his body for 3 minutes, going through his entire body, or getting him to this milking where he's having like this nearly out of body experience. Like this is what's possible for us. Do you think if you can provide that for your partner, will he want to ever look at any other woman and go anywhere else? Fuck no. He's going to be so happy that like you're able to provide him for something that he can't get anywhere else. Like this is something too that's really a core principle desire of mine, is like being able to empower the women that are at home, to be able to give pleasure, but also be able to receive. I want to empower everyone. I want to empower the partners to be able to provide that. Yes, Lisa.
So you did it. You are accomplishing your goal, because I took your instructions for the massage and I started practicing them over the last couple of weeks. And I did 2 on 2 of my partners, and I was able to get, so my Sapio partner and I very, very rarely engage in sex, right? We're discussing it right now because he said that he doesn't want to waste time having sex with me because we have such great conversations, and he has so many lovers, which is fine, that, you know, he doesn't want to spend, he'd feel like a piece of meat if we had sex just because
interesting.
So rich, right? But we spent the night together at a friend's house this weekend, and he was cranky. It took him 2 hours to do a 50-minute drive, and he was very cranky when he arrived. We went out to dinner, and I told him I wanted to give him a sensuous massage. And so I was really, the thing that I remembered, I mean, I give a sensual massage anyway, but the note that I had taken from Jess's instructions was to stroke up on the cock. Yep. Because that would make it more erect versus stroking down. And I have to tell you, it was fascinating how much I realized I focused more on a downstroke.
I know, I'm the same way. I've actually thought the same thing. Yes.
It was fascinating because he doesn't have difficulty staying hard. That's not really it. But he takes a really long time to come. So both of my lovers take a super long time to come, and they feel like, well, I'm fine if I don't come. I'm fine if I don't come. And I really want to, you know, control their orgasm. So I'm paying close attention. But with this massage, I actually got him into a subspace. He was like, when he came and we were lying together, and I was giving him aftercare, and I was just stroking his arm lightly, just brushing it like up and down slowly, the entire length of his arm, very, very lightly, very slowly, almost a tickle. And he says, I can't feel my body. The only way I can feel my body is where it is that you are physically touching it. And the tip of my left. That's all I can feel in my body. And we were like that probably for half an hour. He was in such a subbed space. He was completely blissed out. I don't think he'd ever experienced that. I really don't think he'd experienced that before. And that was the extent of our intimacy really for the weekend. But I have to say that it was incredibly empowering for me to have him really enjoy it. He had given me a couple of boundaries: no feet, no ass. And I was like, oh, what do I do? Because I love the ass, right? I love meeting good ass, right? But I honored it because I didn't want him feeling uncomfortable during any part of the massage. And so I'm going back to my notes. And I'm going to try and do more now, the longer stroke from underneath his. So I really want a little bit more instruction, and maybe we can do it in the after hours segment of our podcast. So really a little bit longer explanation of how to manage the taint, the balls.
Yeah.
Because I got the cock down, that I'm good with, and I'm pretty good at licking the balls, but I just loved being more conscious about an upstroke. That was incredibly helpful.
So I just need to do some demo videos and like, you know, make it digital products for people. But I have something I call the Johnny Twist, and it's from one of my guy friends that I was practicing with, and really my first kind of play partner in terms of like deeper exploration in the body and the energetic and everything. And so the Johnny Twist was, I would have two hands like around from the center, grasping the shaft, and my right hand would go straight down and my left hand would twist up. So if you think about, you know, your thumbs together, hands together, right? And your right hand goes down, straight down, and your left hand twists up. There you go. Yeah.
Is it at the same time, or do you do one or the other? Same time?
At the same time. Right hand down, left hand twist up. Right hand straight down, left hand twist up. So I was starting to do that with him, and he was like, I feel so aroused and grounded at the same time. Wow. And I've used that. That's probably I had a signature move. The rest of the time I'm listening to a man's, my hands are telepathically communicating with a man's penis, and it's just kind of moving in different strokes. There was one stroke that I was starting to do with a guy, and it was just my hands. And he was like, oh my God, I feel like you're riding me right now. Like he felt like it simulated the feeling of a woman riding on top of him. The way my hand was like, not slamming, but going quite like bouncing on his balls. So my right hand was like coming down on his balls as my left hand was coming down on his shaft, and like just both at the same time. So there's such a playground there, and we've you know, there's so much opportunity. But to me, it's empowering the people to be epic lovers, you know, in ways that they don't get it anywhere else.
Yeah.
Hey, Jess, I think another two great topics I think we should do for after hours, like a show and tell, is again for the partners who don't come quick, you know, that take a long time to come. I would love to have some, I don't know, some tips, tricks, whatever in that scenario, or the opposite, you know, someone who comes fairly quickly. Like, and we talked about edging, right? So maybe you can show us all kind of how you manage each one of those, because I think they're both very important.
Oh, 100%. And then people that can't come, I think one of the biggest things is just to let go of the goal. So if they're just so caught up in their head that I can't come, or it takes me forever to come, like, okay, cool. So that's not going to be our goal. Like, we're not going to try to like push through this. You take it off the table. Not as like punishment, just taking the pressure off. Like, you know, we're just going to take that off the table. We're not even going to worry about that. All I want is for you to feel good. That's it. And you slow it down. You take your time. You know, you'd be really amazed. And once you take things off the table, like take that pressure off, what actually shifts and happens. But you have to really mean it. Like, not like, aha, I'm going to trick them and I'm going to say, all right, we're going to take the pressure off the table. And then, you know, I've done that too. Like, I've done all the things. So,
hey, Lisa, I'm curious for you with your fabulous stable. So for you and your partners who don't come, you know, that take longer to come, do you think it's because that they've, like, you know, whatever, masturbated and they got their own self-pleasure, so they're able to, you know, I don't know, either look for a certain touch, Jess has touched on this before, or that they've controlled it because they enjoy the play?
It's not control. It's in the case of my one lover whose girlfriend lives with him, they had a lot of sex the morning that I was playing with him. And so he regularly doesn't come. So I'm kind of used to it because his girlfriend has a lot of sex with him the night before, the morning of, and the night after. So the same day, he's probably having quite a bit of sex.
Got it.
However, I also had a conversation with him because he also holds back. He's like, oh, all I'm really interested is in making sure that you come. So he in the last week has given me 2-3 sessions, I think, with multiple orgasms. Like I haven't up until now had multiple orgasms. I've redefined what my orgasms are. It's a little bit more internal body like versus clitoral orgasms. But I literally bought puppy pads for my bed that are plastic backed because we'll put the link in the podcast.
Yeah, you have an ocean. Yeah.
It's an ocean of cum.
Tsunami.
Yeah, when he's over and over, and I mean, we went through 2 pads on Sunday, and so he gets me to come along, and I had lunch with him on Monday, and I said, I recognize that you really just love my pussy and you want to worship it and have a great time with it, and I love that about you, and that's wonderful. Thank you. But please don't take away the pleasure that I might have from getting you to come over and over again.
Yeah, for sure.
Don't deny me that, because it's not, I'm not going to be, I will recognize that I'm not responsible for your orgasm. So if you don't come, that's not my problem.
Yeah, right.
It's not me. We're having a great time, and I know that you're enjoying it. And there are plenty of times that I have sex and I don't come, and it doesn't diminish the pleasure that I experience. But don't not care about coming for me, because I want to have the pleasure of seeing and feeling your orgasm, even if it's a dry, whatever that expression is, a dry orgasm. So I want to be able to
you want to have success as well. I mean, I think that's the bottom line. Yeah, I get that. I totally understand that.
Well, I don't know that I'd call it, I don't want to name it success, because it makes it a win-lose proposition.
Yeah.
But it's just a matter of, the pulse of a man coming inside my vagina is something that I really enjoy, really, really love. So.
Well, I'm so glad we got to connect today. It's meant so much to me. I hope this was a riveting after hours conversation for all of you listening. There's so much more to play. There's so much more available to you. I promise. There's a whole world of exploration and joy and fun and healing and all of the things that are available to you. And we're here to share a bit of our stories and our opportunities and where we've learned and our lessons. And it's just such a pleasure and gift and joy to have Ella and Lisa here. Thank you, Beauty, so much. I have so much love for you.
Bye, everyone. Love you.
Want more? Head over to theplayfulpodcast.com for all the juicy things we have to offer. From there, you can join our community where you can get access to after hours, attend upcoming workshops and events, and even book a session. Bye for now.